I just drink wine.
Welcome to the Whine Situation.
Welcome, everybody.
We pair wines with people's bitches.
Whoa. And not they're like kept people that they call bitches, but they're complaints.
They're wines with H's.
Not that keeping people is a good thing.
I was just
don't
feeling sassy.
keep people. I know, and don't keep people. I like the sass.
Bitch, I don't
Wine with a bitch.
Ooh, that should be our catchphrase.
Yeah, I like that. Well, someone's just asking how we met, and we actually met at Covell.
Yeah, I'm Ellen, by the way.
Oh, hi,
Clearly.
I'm Shawn.
Hi.
Yeah. If you're this deep into this podcast,
Hopefully you have a clue.
Hopefully you have a clue of what's happening.
Shawn and I met at Covell because he works there and I drink there, and
And we just hit it off for wine. We started talking. We're like, hey,
we like funny things.
you like funny things. You know something about wine.
I felt like I had this weird instinct because then I was worried when I first asked you about this. I was like, we don't actually know each other. Is he going to be creeped out? For some reason, I was just like, I should ask Shawn.
Yeah,
and
let's just do it.
Seems to be, I like it.
Yeah, no, it's good.
It was a match made in
A
Covell.
match made in Covell. Well, you were also studying for your WSETs.
I was showing up there a lot. I mean, I was using that as my excuse for why I was going to study.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually legitimately, but I honestly also have been going there just since the place opened because it's the best place.
Thank you.
And that is Shawn's, to me, my favorite credential to stay. Well, no, my favorite credential of yours is that you're the wine whisperer because you magically know what people want to drink. But he also helped open Bar Covell, and you worked for Gregory Condez.
I did.
So he's got all sorts of wine creds.
People tell me stuff. And you also like take tests, study. You go to the wine library.
Bonding time with my flashcards at Covell for the WSETs.
Oh, you love a flashcard. I know.
love a
I said it
flashcard.
before. I'll say it again. You love a flashcard.
I'm a nerd.
No.
I meant that as a compliment to myself. I was bragging.
No, you're stupid. No, I didn't mean it like that. Let's get into it. Let's introduce our guest.
This is Christina Hepburn. She is our she is the co-host of the most excellent, and we'll have to talk a lot about it, the TNA Talk Sex podcast. She, I guess we met because of your web series, Autocorrect FU, which is hilarious.
Thank you.
And she has a sexy-ass voice.
Hi. I was just in Vegas yelling in a bar all night, so I've got a good throaty thing going on.
What was that about?
I made a commercial there.
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure. I think I can talk a little bit about it. It's kind of funny. I got cast as like the French Canadian.
Whoa.
Yeah, and it's a pretty complicated dialect.
Do you speak French?
Yeah, I went to a theater school in Paris.
Oh.
Yeah.
Bien sûr.
Right. The school. Gosh, I haven't said it all the time. It's the École du Théâtre de Jacques Lecoq.
De Jacques Lecoq? What?
Yeah, or Lecoq.
Lecoq.
Which, incidentally, his son was at a party here in LA that I was at. I bumped into him.
Yeah.
I was like, hi, I was at your school. I don't know. Weird serendipity.
So weird.
Yeah, I truly have no background with like French culture. I just decided I wanted to go to this movement, like mime ensemble theater school. I wanted to actually be better at like my miming in stand-up, which I guess a lot of people just go to UCB for that.
I think groundlings are the
Groundlings
space
too,
where
yeah.
I did groundlings
UCB.
too. Love it.
Same.
Wonderful. We love UCB. We're recording at UCB, but
Right.
I feel like groundlings, they're the people that were like space work. Like you spend whole classes on space
Right.
work.
So I boarded a plane to Paris and like did classes in a foreign language.
That is devotion.
How long were you there for?
Well, I ended up doing 6 months. While I enjoyed many things about it, it was not quite the perfect fit for me. So I came back and I met a partner there who was also from New York, and we started doing 10-minute distillations of films on stage. So we did Ghostbusters, and we would do like all the movement and sound effects, and yeah, they're really fun.
Fun.
Yeah, and then we would do some dramatic ones. Like we did Ran by Kurosawa, and they're just visually beautiful.
Wow.
Kind of this weird amalgamation of like dancing but storytelling, and
But all through mime.
yeah, and you can make sounds, right? But we did a hybrid. Sometimes there was dialogue. Like I was the Sigourney Weaver character where they like tossed me up in the air,
Yeah.
and
God.
yeah, and then there was a point where they're like blowing my hair, but basically they'd use like their mouths, right? And they'd be like, and then toss my hair up in the air. And I was just like, wiggling around like I was possessed. It was fun.
Sounds like a lot of good miming.
Yeah. So I did learn a lot there.
You did.
I did. Also, they teach you to like relax your face. So everyone tends to be like, I'm lifting something heavy. Ugh, and they'll squish their face up. And then it's like this Zen art of like, my face is fine. I'm lifting something heavy.
Oh.
But it kind of helps with, I think not getting wrinkled as you get older.
Yeah. So was it more about like using your entire body to mime?
Yeah. All of it. Yeah. I mean, there's clowning as well. And we did like acrobatics and...
I put a mime in a short.
Yeah,
I
Shawn.
self-produced a short with him.
Oh God, you guys go to
Nice.
YouTube and look up Shawn Buchholz. Did I say that right?
Buchholz, yeah.
Buchholz, yeah.
Well, yeah, if you're like super German, you can say Buchholz, but I say Buchholz.
Buchholz. Go to his YouTube and find he has a hilarious little short with Kristen Shaw, and he's a mime who just can't shut up.
Can't shut up, yeah.
Adorable.
Marcel.
That's great.
Jason McAuliffe wrote it.
I feel like we should take this opportunity to make Shawn open the wine for us like a proper.
Yeah, we'll do
and
that.
while he's doing that, let's hear what your wine with an H is.
Okay. My wine pertains to a particular incident that happened not long ago. But basically, I'm getting a little frustrated these days by people who have strong opinions on something that they don't know anything about. And I think that's really come to the forefront with politics these days. So my particular incident was a friend of mine. We're talking, and I was actually talking about gender pronouns with someone that I started dating that doesn't like identify with the same gender pronouns, and it's even a little over my head. I mean, I do this podcast about sex, like all that, but I'm pretty heteronormative normally. Like I don't. So I just mentioned it, and it caused this reaction out of my friend where she said something like, I don't know anything about it, but, and kind of kept going, or I don't know what it's about, but, and said it very angrily. And there was like this fury about trying to like change things and like how silly it was. And I was like, that's when you stop talking.
Yeah.
When you say, I don't know,
so
that's when you ask a question.
Yeah.
She admitted ignorance and then proceeded to go on a diatribe about it.
Yeah.
With no information.
Right. And I feel like I started to feel like that was happening here and there, like little pockets of it with people. And I just thought, ask questions.
Well, we're going to go to our wine vault, our wine library.
Yes.
And we're going to pull out a Gran Reserva Rioja.
And the reason we picked this
Yeah,
is we figure with age comes wisdom. In Spain, the Gran Reserva has the largest sort of aging requirements in terms of how much time in oak and how much time in the bottle before they can sell it. And in Rioja, that's a region in Spain, it is even... They have all those requirements, the same as the rest of Spain, but even higher. So we were like, a Gran Reserva would be good because it's the most aged. So this is the wisest wine in all of Spain. And also it's a very complex and interesting. And you start drinking and it's made of many different grapes. You can start to ask questions. So we wanted a wine that was wise, but would cause more questions so that people will not be...
So basically like the prescription for you with all these people it's people that know nothing. We gave you a wine that has a lot.
That is so charming. I love it.
Even though what they're telling you is boring and meaningless, at least what you're drinking has a lot of wisdom and a lot of intelligence behind it, a lot of history.
Yeah.
Right? So it's kind of an anecdote.
Yeah. It's the prescription for,
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you for that thoughtfulness.
Yes, to wisdom. Oh, reach. Oh, and to be specific, this is from Bodega Baronia, 2006. Gran Reserva.
Well, first we should kind of like maybe unpack Rioja wines. So Rioja is...
I don't know anything about it, but my grandmother is from Spain.
Whoa! Oh my God!
Yeah, so
There we go.
I kind of love that it folded in.
I'm so glad this worked.
Like Rioja, one of the most renowned regions in Spain for wine. So there's like a lot of classifications. So there's like three main ones. Crianza, a Reserva, and a Gran Reserva. And the Gran Reserva being the fanciest.
Yeah. 2 years in oak and then 3 years in the bottle. Well, 2 years minimum in oak. I think they sometimes, especially these days, it used to be Spain did a lot of long aging in like more neutral American oak, and now they're getting more with the rest of the world and doing longer maceration and slightly still decent amounts of time in French oak that's newer and more fragrant. And they used to end up with very mellow, oxidized a little bit wines, and now modern Rioja is getting to be a little bit more on trend with the rest of the wine world in terms of being more fruit forward and having the oak elements like the vanilla that you taste.
Definitely vanilla.
Oh, interesting. Because so from what I know, like California wines tend to be very vanilla heavy.
People are fond of their oak out here.
Yeah, people are fond of their oak, and you get a lot of that vanilla characteristic from oak.
French oaks.
And Cabernet Sauvignon as a grape really takes that well. Napa Valley, you get those vanilla-rich fruit flavors. But in Rioja, they grow Tempranillo, Garnacha. I don't want to...
This wine in particular has 92% Tempranillo, 4% Graciano, and 4% Mazuelo. And it does indeed, even this bottle breaks it down for people who don't know. It says 24 months in oak and 36 months in the bottle aging before they're allowed to release it.
So Gran Reservas, they have 2 years in oak, and then they spend 3 years in the bottle.
So remind me, why do they want it to age that long?
Sean's like, explain it, Ellen.
Well, no, I mean, I could explain it, but I
it
was going to
can
offer.
take up the oak. I mean, the longer in the oak, the more the oak
Right,
flavors.
so maybe a little richer.
Yeah.
The time in the bottle is just times for all those flavors to mix and mingle, and maybe a little bit of oxygen to get in there and mellow some tannins. Things relax and all makes friends. It's like, you know.
I suppose with age, things relax.
Yeah. And also wine, when you put it into a bottle, it kind of, like, they call it bottle shock. It freaks out at first. So it needs to chill for, like, chill by, like it needs to relax.
It needs to hang out.
Like, not
on
like
the
actually
beach.
be chill, but, I mean, it needs to be cool, but it needs to
55 degrees.
relax before, as it adjusts to being in the bottle.
Yeah.
And then as you bottle age, if the cork and everything is right, the wine will just sort of mellow and settle and become really clear, like a clear expression of what is going on. And there's kind of a sweet spot where wine will be at a great time to open. And that's kind of what you're all like trying to figure out. And there's a window. So usually you'll buy 3 wines and you'll open one and decide if you want to open the next one, and you'll kind of see where the wine is evolving.
I'd be
Nice.
very curious to open. So I guess the most recent Gran Reserva from Rioja would be from 2012, because it's minimum.
Yeah, minimum
That's
5
the most
years.
recently released Gran Reservas would be from 2012. It would be very interesting to taste a 12 versus a 6 and see how a recently opened Gran Reserva does versus this one.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah, so
older.
like this wine just hit the market legally in 2011.
Was it
like,
was it illegal before?
no, it just was.
would not-
It was
well,
aging.
was
It
it-
was illegal.
it
like
would
they,
be to release it
To
and call
label
it a
it
Gran
that.
Reserva. Yeah.
yeah, the DO.
It could be a Reserva, because a Reserva is 12 months. No.
Yeah.
12 months in oak and
2 years in the bottle.
2 years, 3
Yeah.
years total. It's very complicated in
Yeah.
Spain. And the thing with Spain aging requirements is in Rioja, they're not all of them are different, but they're just slightly different in a couple of the categories from the rest of Spain. Just makes it really hard to memorize.
Basically, like Rioja is like all
You
about
get to
age.
make more. Yeah.
Like to
Yeah.
me, like Rioja is like how old is the wine?
I
And, like,
never knew that. I think I
Yeah.
would. I'm going to seek out Riojas when I'm at bars and stuff now, because I never. Yeah, I didn't know enough about them to drink them. And then I had a French boyfriend for a long time, and he was really into wine. So I sort of became like a French wine snob.
I mean, we all are.
Well, they are. I guess
Slightly
they
guilty.
are the French snobs already, and so they've done the work for you, and
Yeah.
and then you're just like, Mom, I like the French ones because they. Meh, meh. But I love.
But why do you not like the French wine? It is my favorite, but I don't know.
yeah.
How would you mime that to us?
Oh gosh.
That'll show on the
yeah.
podcast.
Exactly. Well, what was I going to say? Oh, I was actually going to say that I used to fight a little bit with my French boyfriend about. I really always loved cava, and
I love cava more than champagne.
exactly,
It's better
Yes.
than champagne to me.
Yes.
I do. Sorry, Shawn.
Thank you, Ellen.
Sorry, I'm making a face.
I kind of feel the same way.
I love in
Although
general.
I've had some really good champagnes, and they're all great.
In general, I tend to be a French wine snob a little bit, but I like cava better than most champagne.
I like the
cool.
bubbles.
I
Except
like
for my
bubbles.
Ace of Spades.
I like bubbles.
There's
I just like champagne bubbles.
Can you place it though? Like, what is it about the cava that you prefer? Because
Well, to
I
me,
do too.
champagne it's a little too yeasty for me, and it's made exactly the same way for cava, but something about they use different grapes. So
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
something they use Perriata, Zerolo, and
Zerolo.
Macabao. For
there's something
cava.
about the flavor that is a little more palatable for me.
It's Macabeo, I think.
Macabeo.
Maybe it's less intense, and I think
Depends.
the bubbles are also a little bigger. I forget, but apparently the Italian, French, and Spanish bubbles are all
Well-
different sizes, right?
Yeah, so cava.
Very concerned about the bubble size.
Cava and champagne are made the same method. Prosecco is made a different method.
Oh, okay. Can I say this about wines? I think that, I think over the years I've learned a lot and then I forget things and it's just all over the place. But I feel like when you taste it, you know if it's out of this world or not.
Yeah.
Like you just do. There's some that will make you, like great food, just go, oh my God.
Yes, it's so true. And like, we say on this podcast a lot, like wine is food.
Yeah.
And it feels very much like food.
Yeah.
It pairs
Compliment
so well with
it, yes.
It complements food so well.
I'm really into sauternes, like the dessert wines.
Oh, really?
Yes, I
Ooh,
just
wow.
I had one while I was in Vegas by
Very good.
myself at a bar. And then speaking of being at the bars by yourself as a woman, I went by
how
myself.
was Vegas?
Yeah, well, I was there. So I was there for the commercial I mentioned. And so I had nothing to do for 2 nights in a row. And so I was like, I'm going out. And I dressed, my best and sat at a bar alone. And
I do it whenever I want to. So
yeah. When I ended up in a very intense political conversation with an older white man that voted for Trump.
Okay.
And
oh my God.
Yeah, it was fascinating because
I would have a hard time.
I know.
admire you for sticking.
Thank you.
through.
Yes. Well, he said, I actually made notes. I'm going to make a little video about it because he was like, well, everyone's gets so hot-headed. And I was like, I'm not here to be hot-headed. I was like, I'm sipping my wine. I was having a little Riesling. I was like, I'm going to have my sauterne after. Tasted his food. He tasted mine. We're sitting next to each other at the bar. And I just held it. And I actually, speaking of asking questions, I was like, so, what? I was like, no, I don't know. Why did you, vote for him? Or what was it about Hillary? And I kind of let him explain. And then I would counter with my opinions.
And he's still standing behind his decision.
Kind of, but I think I actually planted a few good seeds. Like I pushed him in new ways, and I kind of was asking questions that were like, yeah, but did you consider this? Did you look at that? What about this? And then I said, okay. He was talking about like tax bloat in the government, and in a way, I did have to go, okay, he is paying those taxes. I don't.
Yeah.
Like that's not getting cut out of my paycheck.
But that's the basic Republican argument is that,
of course,
overtaxing.
Well, I thought this was kind of a cool moment. I said, okay, what's one of our biggest problems? I said, I think for me, it's education. Like I'm worried about our school system, or, putting more money into that and seeing that that people all have good access to it and everyone's learning to read and this sort of thing. Right. There are countries that have 99% literacy rates, or they did, Afghanistan did actually before being ransacked.
Wow.
Where was I going with that? Oh, the point is that I said, oh no, I lost it, guys. Help me.
Bloat
oh,
in
yes.
the government.
I said, okay, so you're saying that you'd be okay. I was like, you'd be okay with being taxed that money if you knew it was going directly to schools.
Yeah.
You could see where, and he was like, yeah, I would. And it felt kind of like this cool breakthrough where we found this middle road, and then we both found the common ground of where we thought the problems were. And we talked a lot about lobbyists, and we talked about how the Senate should actually have to have the same health care that we have. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, I do feel like he voted for Trump in this almost angry, I'm fed up with the radicalism of America, so I'm going to give you the middle finger. I said that to him.
No, but also fed up with the government and how excessive it is and how it's become its own sort of corporation.
Yeah.
The U.S. government is a corporation, and it's basically
I think it always has been.
No, I think after World War II, I think it really became a corporation.
Yeah.
And that's because of military. And that's because we export so much military information, and
it shifted the focus of our economy.
It kind of did, and not
that's where most of our money is going these days.
Yes,
right.
Good point. No, wonderful. I feel like I tend to go on, and I find that. So, for example, this man, he knew some stuff that I didn't, but I felt that I ended up sort of educating him on a number of things.
Right.
So that was really refreshing to have that come from you. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome anytime.
Yeah,
but just ideological standpoints. Democrats, I'm much more on board with their social views and their political views and all that. And I do feel like the government does need to be big and step in and sometimes and make the right decisions and tax people. And yes, there will be waste and there is bloat.
But at the end of the day, it's for the greater good. I argued the same thing I sort of said.
Because trickle down does not working. Because that does not work.
Well, look, what's funny is right now that whole thing about letting the states have more control is being debated a lot right now. Yeah, we'd still have slavery in a lot of states if the federal government didn't set in. Yeah. And I think everyone's kind of ignoring that detail.
Right.
Integration of schools happened because of the federal government. Right. Gay rights, federal government. They are moving the needle in a way that individual states resist.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, because we have to,
it's sad because a tiny part of me is I'm in California, I'll still have health care.
Yeah, so it's complicated for sure. I don't.
Yeah, and I wouldn't want that job, and I don't know.
I know.
I don't want to be president, and like neither does Trump. I don't think. I
No,
don't think
he
really
doesn't.
realized.
He's trying real hard to get impeached.
Yeah, he's like, oh God, what did I get myself into here?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's it definitely King Solomon having to make hard decisions. Is that a bad analogy?
No, that works.
No, just your job is to sort of mediate and be
Yeah.
in the middle and be attacked because you're making choices.
Hopefully for the greater good,
Hopefully,
for the largest number of people.
But we had a president for so long who I felt was doing that.
Yeah.
He was making decisions and really weighing the options and doing all this stuff.
It did feel that way.
Listening to people.
And I felt like he had my back, and I felt like he was pushing society in a way that I think it should be going.
Right.
And
well,
it's
and
more like this inclusive way.
I felt in some ways a lot of people talk about like the Obama era, call it administration, almost not pushing the boundary enough. And in some ways there were some very conservative things and like Monsanto weird stuff happened around that time. And I was thinking about my conversation with this gentleman in Vegas.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, everyone's partying and we're like drilling in on like policy.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had my like hair done like Marilyn Monroe, like red lipstick. And I'm like, I think we need to talk about schools, in this like sheer black dress.
I think it would
that's
have
like
been great
see-through.
if Marilyn
"What is-"
Monroe popped out of the cake and was like, Mr. President, let's talk about the school system.
Yeah, exactly.
Happy
Yeah, that was me.
birthday.
I'm the second version. The improved like we're gonna talk politics while having the same sex appeal.
Yeah.
I found myself like I got off track. Oh, but after the conversation with him, I was thinking about how I feel that overall we focus on the wrong things. And I was talking with someone about like a movie like The Room coming out and how we end up thinking about the fear of like being put in a room by some creep that like threw you in his white van
Right.
becomes this like collective consciousness in America. And it's like a fear mongering thing where I'm like, my day-to-day reality, it's very unlikely that my biggest fear or concern is a man or a sexual predator kidnapping me and putting me in a van and like holding me, right? But
Right.
we all kind of have that in our minds, and it's like, well, be careful, make sure you get home okay, And I'm not saying obviously it has happened,
Yes.
but a very small percentage.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, what is something that is a day-to-day fear that is worth our time to take our minds, right? To take our mind energy. And I thought, well, I would maybe start with the food we're eating and the policies that are being enacted with Monsanto. Mm-hmm. Now, maybe that could be where our energy goes instead of worrying about women in a room.
Mm-hmm. Or like worrying about like sexual predators in bathrooms or like or like.
Well, I was
like
going to say, I do
transgender
have fear
bathrooms.
of people who are going to sexually abuse me because that's a more common than talking about maybe terrorist activity, which you were
I think
referencing
the
before. But I'm like,
extreme case of like these sort of like extreme
Right.
cases. But you're right. I guess maybe the idea of even ISIS being this big fear thing, and it's like there's these articles about like white nationalism is like like there are kind of like white male terrorists causing more issues in America.
Yeah.
Right.
Statistically, I've lost you?
No,
I know.
I'm
I think
just,
that it's
I get distraught just thinking. I'm like, I don't even know where to begin to fix these things.
I know.
This
It's
is why I'm not
overwhelming.
running for government.
No, but I think you start talking about it,
Yeah.
and that's the only way you do
Yeah.
start solving it.
But
and then
also,
you go,
like, to,
I
like,
do need to
yeah.
call my senator and be like, don't effing vote for that Monsanto thing.
But to like tie it back into your original wine of
Yeah.
just like ignorance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's so
and
To learn
willful
more.
ignorance,
willful
contentment with
ignorance.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with these like state-driven initiatives is that they encourage that and people
Yeah.
like are proud and they brag about not knowing stuff. As if
Yeah.
it's some sort of like badge of like, well, I don't know and I don't care.
Right. Like I don't need to know. And then
Right.
Yeah.
and it's like, well, I think like for example, if I think that there's sort of this anti-health, everyone's sort of arguing about what to do with the healthcare, and I'm like, I kind of want to change the conversation. I'm like, if we make the baseline intention to support women's healthcare because women are more vulnerable and exposed in the sense that our anatomy is requires more maintenance. And not in a bad way. We actually, we create babies.
Yeah.
So if we say that's the baseline, and maybe even healthcare is free for women of menstruating age, something like this, right? Some
I think that would
Yeah.
be better
blanket,
everyone.
blanket
have
truth.
more healthily born babies,
Exactly.
which would benefit them whether they were women or men. Like
Yeah,
it's-
and we have a very wealthy society. What if we just said,
what if we think better? Like,
Yeah.
what's the ideal?
But it's the
And
opposite
let's
of that.
make it that.
We're like attacking Planned Parenthood. Like,
Right.
we're
And
doing
we're
the
like,
actual
let's stop
opposite.
giving women access to healthcare. I had this conversation with this man in Vegas.
Let's stop funding the thing that gives away free condoms. Let's
Yeah.
stop funding them. Why should they keep going? Yes.
Well, I told him how
Female
hard
health
it was.
services.
I was on the quest for this specific HPV vaccine because we had an expert come on our podcast who explained to us like HPV and like how worried should we be about it and all this stuff. And they basically tell women like you don't need it after the age of 25. And I'm like, well, if you're married, and they've actually tested the vaccine in women up until the age of 75. And there's even I think the vaccine for men now too, and it's not as well advertised.
There is, yeah.
But anyway, so I get this great information and I'm like, great, I'm going to go get that vaccine. I can't find it. I called several doctors. They don't even know. They don't know.
They won't
were
give it to you.
confused. They were like, one person, they were like, hold on. They had to go find out. Like, they didn't know what I was talking about. Another doctor said, oh, we'll administer it, but you have to go pick it up from the pharmacy. And I was like, what? Like, it was just chaos is
It's like
my
going
point.
to a restaurant and being like, I'll make you the steak, but you got to go buy it for me.
Yeah, exactly. And furthermore, it's I am trying to do preventive healthcare, so that
Right.
I don't end up with cervical cancer, so that I don't cost the government a lot of money. I don't know, so
No.
just what if?
What if?
Anyway,
Oh.
did I get heavy?
No.
No.
It's just-
Rioja.
Rioja. I know. Rioja. Wine's fun. There's a lot of rules with wine. I mean, Rioja's got tons of rules.
Oh
Look
my
at that,
God.
all
Yeah.
that oak. All that oak
Speaking
and
of-
grapes.
Yeah, if we handled our healthcare as cautiously as we did our Rioja.
or as Spain
true.
does. America, our wine laws are a lot more lax.
Yeah.
They are. That's a good
Yeah.
point. Well, I
Like-
heard there's a lot more like flavor additives, right? Or scent.
Well,
They all are?
basically,
They
there's
can.
a lot to be named a certain region in Spain and France and Germany. They'll have, if you want to say you're a Mittelrhein, like Riesling, you have to follow all these things about how much of the grape you can produce, like what kind of processing, what kind of stuff is added. In America, to name a wine by its AVA, pretty much all you have to do is have 75% of your grapes be from that place. Whereas it's in most other countries, and it depends for each region, like the different strictures upon them. Yeah, it's a lot harder.
I think that can still be delicious, but it does make me think about like packaging in America where it'll be like made with real cheese.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, good, it's real.
Thank God.
Well, it's
You're
like the whole like
oh.
organic food movement. Like that didn't exist like not that long ago. It
Yeah.
was just food.
Right.
It was a banana.
Yeah.
It wasn't organic or not organic banana. It was like just banana.
Yeah, but you know what's funny is I finally like took the time to read more about organic vegetables because I was like, what is the story, right? Because it's like, is it silly? And then there's actually just like I think like 14 main vegetables and fruits that are like super vulnerable to.
Right.
And then and of course one of them was spinach, which like I eat by the handful, like out of the refrigerator walking by, like raw and like unwashed. And I was like, oh fuck, can I curse? Pardon.
Yeah. No.
No, that's some
I
of
was
the
like,
things
oh,
I.
yeah.
years of
Yeah.
like toxic spinach going down the gullet. But I resolved the issue. It's now organic.
Gotta
I mean,
get that organic spinach.
I think spinach and apples
I was
are
gonna
the
say
two
what
main
else.
things.
Please tell us the list of
Specifically,
fruits.
yeah.
Strawberries, I think.
Strawberries,
too.
yeah.
But I buy the baby spinach and the organic baby spinach and those like $5 for a giant tub
Yeah.
because I also eat it by the handful.
Yeah,
but then
good.
I found out because I was kind of like, I'll wash my fruits and vegetables like pesticides. It keeps stuff alive. And then yeah,
Oh, so wait, and you're now.
I'm now like spinach. I definitely buy organic. I occasionally get those farm fresh to you organic deliveries because
I did that for a little while.
I get it like
Me
every
too.
couple of weeks, and
I
I get
stopped.
the eggs from them because you could visit the chickens and make sure they're happy.
Really?
'Cause
I didn't know that.
Care about chicken happiness.
Ellen's a vegetarian, and she's also a goth. Recovery.
You didn't bring that up last
Oh, I
time.
forgot to bring it up. I didn't bring it up. I bring it up every episode.
Every episode are goth goblets. And
I feel like Spain's a great like the history of Spain. There's like a Spanish Gothic. Like it's a good wine for you.
There's
Those
a-
Spanish
Sure.
wines.
yeah.
It's a deep
I mean,
red.
it is a deep
Yes.
red.
It's like blood.
Right. Yeah. And they have just like those palaces
Guys,
and
is it just me? Is this like a very raisinated
Oh yeah.
one? It's very raisinated.
It's
Very,
delicious.
like the oak is very strong.
I wasn't going to drink a lot because
Very musty.
I'm still like pickled from
Oh, but
last
we
night.
got you-
Oh, we're to Vegas. Yeah.
Look, Christina, we got
But
you good
it's
wine.
so good. I'm now drinking. I'm fully in. I'm like, whatever. What's one more night?
Yeah. You said raisiny, right?
Yeah, it's very raisinated. Like very much. You're like these grapes got pretty damn right.
Oh, I don't know that that word. Raisinated.
Raisinated.
That's fun. I
Yeah.
like that. I'm gonna call people. I'll be like, God, you're so raisinated.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, what does that mean? They'll be like, shriveled. like a raisin,
Like all of the California,
overly ripe.
all the California raisins are raisinated.
Yeah.
It means they sat on the vine a good long time.
Maybe I'll use it for people who've like tanned too much, maybe in the sun.
Oh,
That's
shade.
they're raisinated.
Nice.
You're like,
You
damn,
could be referencing
raisinated.
both
You got raisinated. But we have some fun wine questions
Yeah,
for you.
it's our
Yeah.
lightning round.
Lightning
We
round.
didn't tell you we were doing it. So
Guys,
you
I
can...
love that. Okay, I hope I don't fail.
Oh,
There's no failing.
There is no failing. There's only not knowing the answers.
That's so sweet. Isn't that true? Back to the theme.
Thank you.
Don't worry.
There's no failing.
Yeah,
You're
I
learning.
I didn't ridicule that man when he
Right.
didn't know certain things. We just
all,
talked.
But like that's all wine is, you know. There's
just
no
learn
failing.
more.
You just learn more. Someone's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's not right. Learn this," or like, "Oh, try this."
Yeah.
Like you have.
I
you
love
know,
this.
It's a conversation. It's an
Yeah.
ongoing conversation.
We're all learning
Yeah, because
all the time.
wine is always changing.
Yeah.
Literally, this wine in the bottle is aerating and changing and growing as we speak. So
Wine is a living thing.
it's true.
It's constantly evolving and changing, and this is this moment in time when we've got to experience it.
It's nice.
Aw.
Poetry in motion.
Question number 1. Tell
Yeah.
us.
I'm ready. Now that I'm liquored up, what do you want
right
to
to
know?
the brass tacks. Question 1.
I got really
Question
drunk
1.
last night and said things I should not have said, and then I was like, I was getting like handsy with the talent.
Oh wait,
I think
this
they
is
liked it.
before our
Probably.
trivia. I just
I'm
want
gonna
to
say
ask you a quick question. Since you do host TNA Talk Sex, what's
Yes.
like the sexiest wine to you? If you're like, this is a wine that makes me think sex. What do you have one you've tasted? It can be the brand, the type. What wine says sex to you?
I mean,
Just a lot of.
yeah. Well, you know, somehow like this Stag's Leap wine came to mind just now.
Yeah.
Right, and it's like a deep red. It's really good. It's got layered. It's depth.
I had
think
someone who
that's-
wooed my family with a stag's leap once. So
exactly.
He's gone. The wine stayed in my mind.
Oh yeah, and I've had like some kind of like Burgundy region wines that I think really stayed with me.
Now you're speaking Shawn's language.
Yeah, I like Burgundy.
Yeah.
Wait, is it mostly just like red wine? You think is
That's a
sexy
good
one?
point. Well,
like,
so
can there be like a sexy rosé?
Because Sauternes to me would be very sexy.
which one?
Sauternes.
I was thinking Sauterne because it's a very like rich golden
Yeah.
white wine.
silky.
Yes. Well, you bring up that's. I feel like there's sort of like spring sex, and then there's
Yeah.
and then there's like you're right.
true.
The darker ones are a little maybe moodier. What do I want to say about the? I was thinking the Sauterne, but I actually with my French boyfriend, I ended up having this allergy where I thought I was allergic to red wine. It turns out it was gluten. I know some people are rolling their eyes. Spaniards have a big gluten allergy. It's actually for centuries they've known about it. They tend to be more celiac. It's somehow in their genetic coding. So grandma, thanks a lot.
Thanks, Grandma.
Yeah, but so I don't. So I discovered that was the issue. But I stopped drinking red wine for a while. So he bought this complex white wine at Christie's auction, and it was complex
man.
like a red.
Right.
Yeah, now that
white
was
wines
sexy.
can be incredibly sexy.
Yeah, and it was. I
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
know white wines could be that complex until he found this one, and it was this golden color, and it unfolded in layers like certain reds.
Yeah, but just like like you can have sex at any time of the day. There's a different wine for every time of the day. You know,
There is.
Like if
Yes,
you're
different
having
moods.
different moods, different wine. You know,
Different
like
season. This is why he's the wine whisperer. Whisper.
Whisperer.
The wine whisperer.
on the wine
Wine
whistler.
whisperer. But yeah, you're right. And I would say sexually, you have all those different types of experiences.
Right.
Lighter, cool ones, deeper,
cool
guttural ones.
You guys, basically, wine is just sex.
Yeah.
That's
I
what we
mean,
decided. Like,
I mean, almost everything. I mean, it's still like arousing the senses.
Bow, bow, bow.
Back to trivia.
Yes, questions. Sorry, yeah, that was a good question. That's why we got
Ooh.
into
Yeah,
it.
I needed to know because I was like, you would know, and I love your answer because it's so complex and layered.
Thanks.
You guys, Christina is very sexy,
Thank you.
like in person, not just in her voice.
I'm going to disagree with that.
Thank you.
let's
I was
gonna
not
notice.
Elaborate.
Oh, cool.
For lack of.
Question number 1: what's a crianza? We answered this earlier.
Oh fuck.
Just right out of the gate.
There were so many words in the beginning.
know.
I was still like nursing my hangover. It's excuses.
What do you think crianza means on a Spanish wine label? That's where you
Crianza. Isn't it?
There's a lot of what we were talking
it's
about
not
at the
a type
beginning.
of grape. It's
No, it's a classification.
It's a
for...
of course it's not a grape.
Classification.
It's the aging process.
Yes.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yes, in Spain generally, crianza is 6 months in oak and 2 years. 2 years total aging. 6 of them in oak. In Rioja, it's 1 year in oak, one in the bottle. So that's a Crianza.
Very good.
Crianzas mean two different things in Rioja and then in the greater Spain.
Because Rioja likes the older, wiser wines.
Ooh.
Wisdom is sexy, guys.
I
Go
like
to
making
school.
those sounds together.
Sounds really good in our earphones.
It doesn't know. We just had like this vibrational melding, which, by the way, sexually, that's like a new thing I do with partners.
What?
Vibrational
we'll
melding?
vibrate.
Oh my god, the things. Can we come on your podcast just to learn these things?
Yes,
Yeah, right.
we'll if I'm on top of them, our chest cavities are together and we'll hum together at the same
What?
time. And it creates this like meditative center where you're just like melting together.
It's like a sound bath.
Yes, it is a sound bath. Actually, I left this out. I started doing professional cuddling. So I take clients and I cuddle with them. So it's actually
heard about
non-sexual,
this.
Yeah.
intimate touch, physical
I mean,
therapy.
I have a friend who's an asexual, but he like has deep cuddling relationships.
Oh, he does? Wow. Okay, well, there you
There you
go.
go.
So I'll practice that with certain clients as well. I'll
And it
do
never
this, like,
gets sexual?
I've had a couple who I'm very clear with them. I always have a conversation and really engage to make sure that they understand, if that's not happening.
Right.
And I have had a couple of sort of fetishistic clients, visit, and I'm like, well, that's great. I don't judge it. It's not really my arena. I'm not even as well versed in it, so I'm not going to best serve you in that.
Right.
And there are plenty of people who are providing those services, facilitators.
exactly.
So.
Right.
I'd say that's
No,
that's how I handle it. That's actually how I would pretty much say it. That's what I do say.
like
So.
I can contract this out to someone better qualified than me.
Yeah, basically, like I am not going to give you a great spanking. I'm terrible at it. I am. Like, I wish I was better. I went to a BDSM club for my show,
nice.
and got walked around on a leash and all this. And then there was this dominating women party, and all the men were lined up, and we were all supposed to walk down and like spank each one. And I was really bad at it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll work on it. I feel like I need to master it.
Yeah, please get better at that. Yeah.
Well, just like men are kind of required to do it with a lot of women, and I guess again heteronormative dynamics.
Oh, right.
And and they're good at it. Like there's a skill.
That's basically,
Shawn, what do you know about spanking?
That's basically Wall Street. I don't know.
Okay, all right.
Question number 2.
Yes.
What is one of the grapes that's in our wine? What is Mazuelo called in France? It's another grape in France, usually found in southern France. Most
Killing
people
me.
don't know this.
These are tough.
What was the question? What is a Mazuelo?
Mazuelo is one of the grapes in this Rioja. It's a most
and you're
people
asking me about the region?
that's the grape is
A synonym.
Mazuelo, and most people know it by the name it's called in France.
Oh.
The grape.
What's the name of the grape in France?
Oh.
These are tough questions.
It's really tough. 'Cause
Like,
I don't
and
even.
some of
I
your
have a
friends
hard
at
time
Cobell
following.
didn't know that the other day.
I kind of stay quiet when people talk about the different grape types because I just can't hold them all in my head.
There's
There's
thousands.
I just said heads,
Gajillions.
plural. I can't hold them in my heads.
I mean, you've had a lot of wine, so you might be. There might be 2 yet.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot going on up here.
The answer is Carignan.
Yeah, okay, never. I've
no.
never even heard that word.
No.
It's
a grape.
Yeah, it's a grape.
Can I tell you there's one dessert? There was a dessert wine that I loved,
Yeah.
and it's from, what region is it? Oh no, I'm blanking
it a French
completely.
one?
It's French, and it's actually this grape that grows on the banks of a river. And
You probably had a Chenin Blanc, like a Vouvray that was they get
Botrytis.
noble rot botrytis.
Yes, that is right. The noble rot, exactly. And
That's
it was,
also a Sauterne thing.
Yeah.
yeah, but it's this one specific wine that I had that was amazing, and I went to that region, and yeah,
It might have been a Vouvray or a Coteau de Léon, Loire Valley.
yes, Loire Valley. It was Loire.
Yeah.
Thank you. Gosh, you guys are great. That's what I
Venezou?
wanted to say, but I had wine, and it's been a while.
No, it's
But
okay.
I went to the Loire Valley. I was in the Loire Valley region.
It was
with
probably
my-
a Chenin Blanc
with
that had gotten
my
some
French
botrytis.
boyfriend.
With the Alphonse.
Yeah, and but that was memorable. That was beautiful. So cool.
Oh, I bet. I
Question
love France.
number
No, I love
3.
France.
Well,
Me
the fog rolls in,
Right.
and it grows this mold on the grape, which
Right,
creates
the noble
this
rot,
sweeter, it like increases the amount of sugar in
What
it.
it does is it pierces the grape, and the grape dries. The grape becomes a raisin a little bit, like this wine is raisinated, and so that's why
delicious.
it's sweeter. But then also somewhat of the taste of this noble rot. There's a lot of regions where they get the fog coming in, and it makes the grapes do that. But then they get something called gray rot if it doesn't get hot and sunny enough in the afternoon. So making those grapes is really complicated because
Complicated. It is.
it has to be
Why it's so
foggy in the
expensive.
morning, hot in the afternoon. It has to be a perfect ripening region. Yeah.
Complicated, just
Yeah,
how I like it.
Yes.
Because it could just ruin your grapes too. You know, like it could also just make them
the gray
rotten.
rot.
Yeah, the gray rot. Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh.
Ugh.
Rot.
Oh, gray rot.
You know what's funny? Sorry, it just reminded me of in Vegas last night, really drunk. One of the guys in the crew was like, "Well, what are you looking for in something like in your dating life?" And I was like, "I'm looking for mischief and intrigue." Like that's what came out.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't know if that's a good thing. Like I'm never gonna have a girlfriend, boyfriend, what?
Which?
But I brought. Sorry, go ahead, continue.
We're
It was
gonna
just because
ask
you said it was
one more
complicated.
question.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm a talker. Podcast.
No, it's just, yeah. That's what
Go
we're
ahead.
here for. No,
Especially with
I'm
wine.
going to ask.
I know, right?
How do you rein in your guests?
Yeah.
Aren't we all runaway trains? Okay, go ahead.
No, we're asking you a lot of questions. I mean, you talk about
Everyone
sex.
is
We could talk
different.
forever, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm getting so excited.
Yeah, right?
Arousal of the senses.
It's true. What's another grape used commonly in Rioja blends? We named it earlier.
Tempranillo.
Oh, well, yes, this is...
Yes, that's
besides-
correct. That is correct.
That's correct. Ding, ding.
That's correct.
We
You
were
guys are
going...
so nice.
If I'd elaborated, I would said the one that's not in the wine we're drinking.
Oh.
But
She was so quick.
all right.
I'm gonna give you that one.
yeah, you get
okay,
that
but
point.
Extra
What's
credit. Extra
another
credit.
another common Spanish grape we hear about?
So there is Tempranillo.
They frequently
is
make rosés of this
Graciano.
one.
And there is Mazuelo in this.
There's one more grape they frequently grow and use in Spain.
There's one more that they grow in
They
use.
also use it in France, although a slightly different name, but almost the same.
I'm going to let Ellen flex a little muscle here and throw out the answer.
Garnacha!
Grenache! I've heard of that grape. You're right. I've
Yeah,
seen that often.
Grenache.
Grenache, right.
Yeah.
Grenache.
And we
Good job.
have...
Good job. Wait,
yeah.
did you know? Because Ellen said it first before you said
No.
Okay.
What? No. That was for everyone. For the record, everyone. Ellen said it. I've absorbed nothing from the
We'll
lesson.
send you the Cliff
That's not
Notes.
true. Now I know.
Now you
Now
know.
I know. Now I'm
Re-listen
like
to your
Tempranillo,
podcast and-
Grenache. You refreshed me on the Noble Rot, even though it was like that's what I meant. It was like something that was like my fun fact that's the only one that I would employ, and
It's
it
a
looks
super
fancy.
duper complicated thing. I only know because I'm a nerd who likes flashcards.
I love this. I love how much you guys know about wine.
Oh, a little bit. We're just all learning, though.
It's
Yeah.
true.
The people that know the most about wine say they know the least, probably. Well, I mean, they say they know stuff, but like they're always down to learn and educate and be humble and try and like figure out the right answer.
And like I said, wine is always changing. The requirements are always changing, so you have to keep learning to keep up. Otherwise, you could be talking about Spanish wines from 50 years ago when they were in American oak and
Exactly.
oxidized.
Oh, yeah,
So
right. Things are changing.
You have to keep learning.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I loved when you were talking about what's sort of trending right now that I
Right.
wasn't aware of. I want to add that my mom's from Colombia. So my grandmother's from Spain, but she migrated to Colombia. And we went to a vineyard
Ooh.
in Colombia. There's this lone
wow.
vineyard.
That's
yeah.
amazing.
And apparently the guy, everyone was like, you can't grow wine here.
What was
You're
he
crazy.
growing?
He had 3 different types. I think 2 of them I did not enjoy, but one of them was actually had this really like mineral, like earthy flavor. And I brought a bottle back, which
Do you know what kind of
I
grape?
drink. No, don't remember. But
That's
maybe if
okay.
you Google like Colombia vineyard, you'll find it. I mean, it's like the only one there.
I hear Uruguay is up and coming.
Yeah,
for-
Uruguay.
Wow.
Yeah, they like Graciano in Uruguay is really good.
Cool.
Just FYI.
But well, I guess what was interesting was how it was it had its own unique flavor, and it was just its own thing.
The soils, the weather, everything.
The
Like
flavor.
the flavor.
The flavors.
The winemakers, the barrels, the time.
I mean, like you can really grow grapes a lot of places.
Yeah.
You know, it just depends. It's like a combination of farming and winemaking
And the grape.
and the grape.
Sometimes grapes aren't suited
But like,
to
but-
soils.
No, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like Chardonnay
whatever
will
grape
grow
is
everywhere,
growing, yeah.
pretty much.
But pretty much a combination of farming and winemaking. And most of like European wines have been about the farming. Like you farm and then the wine just happens later. It's obviously evolved and become much more
Like
amazing
artisanal
wine. Yeah.
flavoring.
Whereas in America, it's more about the star winemakers as opposed to the actual like terroir. But that's also changing too. So, but that's like the broad stroke of modern day wine.
I just want to say, Shawn has his dog with him in the show.
We'll put a picture of Shelby
yeah,
up.
you have to totally share.
Shelby's here.
It's amazing how like relaxed
She's
your
the
dog is.
chillest dog
Completely
you've
silent.
ever seen in your entire life.
She's like the chillest little
Is
dog.
she a wine lover also?
She's a wine lover, yeah.
She's like, yes, I'm getting massaged while we drink wine.
Well, you know they have like wine for cats.
They
You
do?
heard about that?
Yes.
Which is just like so you're not drinking alone.
Yeah, you're probably right. Oh my God.
I need like wine for my dog.
We're going to put pictures of Shelby and
The wine
Christina
mascot.
and the wine and all
the
these
wine,
things
yeah.
on our Instagram, which is the Whine Situation, wine with an H. You can also email us. We'd love to hear people's feedback
Yeah.
on what you think about this and what you want to hear more or less of.
Or
If you
correct our information, please.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
wine is
sure
always
we've done it
changing,
wrong.
and I probably remembered something wrong because we're all drinking here.
Yeah.
Well said. If you know something that we don't,
Probably
we're
something
open
wrong.
to learning.
Oh, yeah. An open to correction.
Yeah.
So the Whine Situation at Gmail is that, and
Is the wine with an H though, right?
Yeah, it's wine
Right.
with an H
Okay.
at
Yeah.
Gmail. And then the wine situation at Instagram. You can
Yeah.
message us.
It's the Whine
you know.
Situation either at Instagram or Gmail. Yeah, you can message us there. Where can people find you, Christina?
Yeah. So my podcast, TNA Talk Sex with an ampersand, T ampersand A.
Oh, okay.
But all social media is TA Talk Sex. It's
Okay.
a coding issue. So just TA Talk Sex, as in, the tits and ass. But I'm also Cree Hepburn on social media at CHRI. And I guess people could find me on the cuddle list if they want to cuddle with me.
Oh.
Right? Should I offer that?
Yeah, offer up
Hey,
some
guys.
cuddles.
Yeah, if you'd like to do some of that chest cavity humming.
Drink some wine and have some cuddles.
Yeah.
And then just real quick, what's bringing you some joy in your life right now?
Oh.
Last question to finish it out.
Oh, wow. What's bringing me joy? I mean, at this very moment, I just filmed that commercial, and I had like a rollicking time with
Yeah.
like such beautiful, fun people.
Yeah, I love that.
And
I saw the pictures. Those were beautiful people.
Yeah.
Including you.
Oh, and I didn't even get a photo of like Handsome Dan. Like we just called him
Oh.
Handsome Dan the whole
Handsome
time.
Dan.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And he was like, "Good night, guys." And I gave him this like long hug. I was like, "Bye."
You're like,
He's
I'm a
used to it.
cuddler.
Bye,
He's
Dan.
Handsome
Bye.
Dan.
I just held him for a while.
Well, to Handsome Dan.
to Handsome Dan.
Yay. Cheers. Thank you so
Cheers.
much for being here.
Thank you. This was so much fun.
Yay.
I just drink wine. I don't fuck with IPAs. I just drink wine. I don't fuck with Minute Maids. I just drink wine. I don't fuck with coffee mates. I just drink wine. Give me red, white, or say, don't touch me, motherfucker. I'm a sommelier.
Thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening.
If you want to talk at us or rate us or subscribe, we're on iTunes, The Whine Situation. We have an email,
We have an email, you guys.
The Whine Situation with an H.
It's 1996, and we have an email
Oh my God, we're up to date.
on my
We're also on Instagram with a
Windows 95.
You can AOL or what's the thing they call it?
You can AOL Instant
My
Messenger
IM
us.
is
Whine Situation.
winebitch.com.
Find us on MySpace, guys.
Oh,
We're
we
on,
should thank people.
we're on Friendster at... Yeah, thanks, everyone. Thanks,
Winebitch.com.
thanks Cobell Peeps. Thanks, Dustin Lancaster, Matthew Canner, Gregory Condez.
Thank you to the people who did our music. Yeah. And next week we have the spectacular and hilarious, because we recorded it all over. Spoiler alert, we don't do this in real time.
Nate Cordry. Nate Cordry's on next week.
And it's
Yeah.
pretty great.
So share with your friends, guys, and tweet about it, talk about it,
And we'll love you forever.
and
if
we'll
do
love
that.
you forever. You will get one unconditional love stamp
Yes.
in your sticker collection.
That's a promise, maybe.
That's a promise, maybe.
That should be our theme song.
I love you, maybe.
I love you, maybe.
Or
Call you.
call you, maybe. That's what I was thinking of.
Okay. Good night.
Good night. Thanks, guys. Bye.